Welcome to IAS Academy. Prior to the 2022 preliminary exam, we will cover 15 previous year MCQs daily in a video. That is a total of 2500 plus MCQs before the exam. So let's start the session. Our first question is, the Ashoka major rock edicts which tell us about Sangam Kingdom include rock edicts of options are 1 and 10, 1 and 11, 2 and 13, and 2 and 14. Here answer to this question is option C, 2 and 13. The period roughly between 300 BC and 300 AD in South India is known as Sangam period. That is, the area lying to the south of river Krishna and Tungabhadra. Three dynasties ruled during Sangam age: Cheras, Cholas and Pandyas. There are 33 Ashoka's inscriptions in total and are primarily classified into 5. There are 14 major rock edicts. Major rock edicts 2 involves medical treatments of humans and animals, planting of fruits, medicinal herbs and digging of wells. It also mentions Pandyas and Kerala Putras of South India. Major rock edicts 13 mentions victory over Kalinga, Ashoka's Dharma victory over Greek kings, and also mentions Pandyas, Cholas, etc. It also gives a vivid picture of change of Ashoka from an aggressive and violent warrior to a great lover. So from these, 2 and 13 major rock edicts mentions southern kingdoms of Chola, Pandya, Satpura and Kerala Putra. Question number 2. Mongols under Chengiz Khan invaded India during the reign of options are Balban, Firoz Tughlaq, Iltutmish and Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Here answer to this question is option C, Iltutmish. Chengiz Khan made several incursions into Indian subcontinent when he chased Jalaluddin, the last ruler of the Khwarezmian Empire, all the way to the Indus River in 1221. During the first half of 1220s, Iltutmish neglected Indus River Valley, which was contested between Mongols and the Khwarezmian kings. So Mongols under Chengiz Khan invaded India during the reign of Iltutmish, but did not enter deep in India as Iltutmish refused to give shelter to the Persian king. The Mongols were a nomadic tribe that lived on the plains of Central Asia. They were a fractious tribe, always at war with each other, until a warlord Temujin united them and taking the name Chengiz Khan. Today, Mongol Empire is the largest contiguous land empire in human history. After Chengiz Khan's death, Mongols suffered a series of defeats when the Delhi Sultanate undertook military campaigns against them in mid-1300s. So here answer to this question is option C, Iltutmish. Question number 3. The most short-lived of all the Britain's constitutional experiments in India was the option A, Indian Council Act of 1861, option B, Indian Council Act of 1892, option C, Indian Council Act of 1909, option D, Government of India Act of 1919. Here answer to this question is option C, Indian Council Act of 1909. Time span of the given acts are Indian Council Acts of 1861 lasts for 31 years, Indian Council Act of 1892 lasts for 17 years, Indian Council Act of 1909 lasts for 10 years, and Government of India Act of 1919 lasts for 16 years. So here answer to this question is option C. Indian Council Act of 1909 introduced a few reforms in the Legislative Council and provide association of Indians in the Executive Council of Viceroy and Governors. It was more commonly called Morley Minto reforms. Question number 4. The Archaeological Survey of India is an attached office of the Department or Ministry of options are Culture, Tourism, Science and Technology and Human Resource Development. Here answer to this question is option A, Culture. Archaeological Survey of India or ASI is an attached agency of the Ministry of Culture of the Government of India. It engages in archaeological research, conservation, protection and preservation of ancient monuments and archaeological sites in the country. ASI regulates all archaeological activities conducted in the country through provisions of AMSAR Act, that is, Ancient Monument and Archaeological Sites and Remains Act. It also regulates the Antiquities and Art Treasure Act 1972. It was founded in 1861 by a British Army engineer, Alexander Cunningham, who took a keen interest in archaeology in India. He is also known as Father of Indian Archaeology. It's a statutory body after independence under the AMSAR Act 1958. ASI is headed by a Director General and is headquartered in New Delhi. SA has more than 3,500 protected monuments and archaeological sites of national importance that it protects and preserves. SA publications include Ancient India, Epigraphia Indica, Indian Archaeology, a Review. So here answer to this question is option A, culture. Question number 5. During a flight from Delhi to Tokyo, the following are the landing airport: Hong Kong, Hanoi, Taipei and Bangkok. Then the sequence of airports during the flight from Delhi to Tokyo is, here answer to this question is option B, 4213. That is, during the flight from Delhi to Tokyo, the sequence of airports are Bangkok, Hanoi, Hong Kong and Taipei. Bangkok is the capital of Thailand, Hanoi is the capital of Vietnam, Taipei is the capital of Taiwan. So here answer to this question is option B. Question number 6. Mekong Ganga Co-operation Project is option A, an irrigation project involving India and Myanmar. Option B, a joint tourism initiative of some Asian countries. Option C, a hydroelectric power project involving India, Bangladesh and Myanmar. Option D, a defense and security agreement of India with its eastern neighbours. Here answer to this question is option B, a joint tourism initiative of some Asian countries. Mekong Ganga Co-operation, established in 2000, is an initiative by 6 countries, India and 5 ASEAN countries, that is Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Thailand and Vietnam, to foster culture and commerce among them. The 4 areas of cooperation are culture, education, tourism and transportation. It is named after Ganga and Mekong, which are both civilizational rivers. It is an initiative aiming to facilitate closer connection between these 6 member countries which share Ganga River and Mekong River basins. In the 12th MGC Senior Officials Meeting that took place virtually in 2020, the member countries led a discussion on MGC Plan of Action for 2019 to 22. So here answer to this question is option B. Question number 7. Consider the following statements in respect of traffic, that is trade-related analysis of fauna and flora in commerce. Statement number 1. Traffic is a bureau under United Nations Environment Program. That is incorrect. Statement number 2. The mission of traffic is to ensure that trade in wild plants and animals is not a threat to the conservation of nature. That is correct. Which of the above statement is or are correct? Here answer to this question is option B. Statement 2 only is correct. It's a NGO, not a bureau under UNEP. So statement 1 is wrong. It aims to ensure that trade in wild plants and animals is not a threat to the conservation of nature. So statement 2 is correct. It is working globally on wildlife trade monitoring network. It specializes in investigating and analyzing wildlife trade trends and to provide the leading knowledge base on trade in wild animals and plants. So here answer to this question is option B. Statement 2 only is correct. Traffic, the Wildlife Trade Monitoring Network, is a leading non-governmental organization working on wildlife trade in the context of both biodiversity conservation and sustainable development. It's a joint program of World Wildlife Fund and the International Union for Conservation of Nature. Question number 8. 5-year plans in India was finally approved by options are Union Cabinet, President on the advice of Prime Minister, Planning Commission and National Development Council. Here answer to this question is option D, National Development Council, that is NDC. NDC was the final authority that used to give final approval to the 5-year plans. The 5-year plans have paved the way for rapid development of the Indian economy. There are 12 5-year plans that have been made in India and 12th 5-year plan was the last plan of India. The decades-old 5-year plans have been replaced by 3-year action plan, which will be part of a 7-year strategy paper and 15-year vision document. The Niti Aayog, which has replaced the Planning Commission, is the new body that gives policy direction. Its founding principle is cooperative federalism. Most important difference is that Niti Aayog has no power to grant funds or make decisions on behalf of states. It's only an advisory body. So here answer to this question is option D, NTC. Question number 9. Debenture holders of a company are its options are shareholders, creditors, debtors and directors. Here answer to this question is option B, creditors. Debentures are long-term financial instruments that are used by companies to borrow money. A person having the debentures is called debenture holder. They are the persons or firms who purchase the debentures of other company. It contains a contract for the principal amount to be repaid after a specified period or at intervals and for payment of interest at a fixed rate. Hence, debentures holders are the creditors of the company. Some debentures have a feature of convertibility into shares after a certain point of time at the discretion of the debenture holder. The debenture which cannot be converted into share are called non-convertible debentures. So here answer to this question is option B, creditors. Question number 10. Under which one of the Ministry of the Government of India does the Food and Nutrition Board work? Options are Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Ministry of Women and Child Development, and Ministry of Rural Development. Here answer to this question is option C, Ministry of Women and Child Development. Food and Nutrition Board works under Ministry of Women and Child Development. It's a technical support wing under Child Development Bureau of the Ministry. The Food and Nutrition Board, set up in 1964, is an attached office of the Ministry of Women and Child Development and has a country-wide setup. So here answer to this question is option C. Question number 11. The increasing amount of carbon dioxide in the air is slowly raising the temperature of the atmosphere because it absorbs. Option A, the water vapor of the air and retains its heat. Option B, the ultraviolet part of the solar radiation. Option C, all the solar radiations. Option D, the infrared part of the solar radiation. Here answer to this question is option D, the infrared part of the solar radiation. Atmospheric gases like carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, water vapor and chlorofluorocarbons are capable of trapping the outgoing infrared radiation from Earth's surface, thereby causing greenhouse effect. So, here answer to this question is option D, carbon dioxide absorbs the infrared part of solar radiation. Question number 12. Consider the following pairs of commonly used materials and unwanted or controversial chemicals likely to be found in them. Options are lipstick and lead, soft drinks and brominated vegetable oils, Chinese fast food and monosodium glutamate. Which of the pairs given above is or are correctly matched? Here answer to this question is option D, 1, 2 and 3. That is all the pairs are correctly matched. Research by Campaign for Safe Cosmetics and US Food and Drug Administration has found lead and other toxic metal in a surprising number of lipstick. Hence pair 1 is correct. Brominated vegetable oil is a food additive used in certain soft drinks and fruit flavored beverages as a density stabilizer. Hence pair 2 is correct. India's favorite 2-minute noodles lost 80% market share due to the presence of MSG, that is monosodium glutamate, as found by a state laboratory. Hence pair 3 is also correct. Hence all the given pairs are correct. So the answer is option D. Maggi ban in India. India's food regulator had banned Maggi in 2015 after tests showed it contained excessive lead and for alleged mislabeling over flavor enhancer MSG. The product returned to stores after a court lifted the restriction. Nestle has since then removed the claim, no added MSG. Monosodium glutamate is an excitatory neurotransmitter, which means it stimulates nerve cells to relay its signal. Soft drink contains brominated vegetable oils. Bromine can irritate the skin and mucous membranes. Lipstick contains lead. Exposure to lead has been linked to health concerns. Hormonal changes, menstrual irregularities, and serious heart problems are part of it. Question number 13. Which of the following statement is or are correct? Viruses can infect bacteria, fungi, and plants. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. Here answer to this question is option D, 1, 2 and 3. That is viruses can infect bacteria, fungi, and plants. A virus is a small infectious agent that replicates only inside the living cells of other organisms. Virus can infect all types of life forms from animals and plants to microorganisms, including bacteria and fungi. According to the type of host they infect, viruses are classified mainly into the following 4 types. Plant viruses including algae viruses, animal viruses including human viruses, fungal viruses that is mycoviruses, bacterial viruses that is bacteriophage. So here answer to this question is option D, 1, 2 and 3. That is all the above. Question number 14. In which of the following activities are Indian remote sensing satellites used? Options are assessment of crop productivity, locating groundwater resources, mineral exploration, telecommunications, traffic studies. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. Here answer to this question is Option A 1, 2 and 3, that is assessment of crop productivity, locating groundwater resources and mineral exploration. India's remote sensing program was developed with the idea of applying space technologies for the benefit of humankind and development of country. The first indigenous remote sensing satellite developed by ISRO, that is the IRS-1A, was launched by Soviet launch vehicle Vostok in 1988. Crop productivity, groundwater resources, mineral exploration, these are applications of IRS. INSAT system is one of the largest domestic communication satellite system in Asia Pacific region. Hence, telecommunication comes under INSAT. So, here answer to this question is option A 1, 2 and 3 only. Question number 15. As regards the use of international food safety standards as reference points for the dispute settlements, which one of the following does WTO collaborate with? Options are Codex Alimentarius Commission, International Federation of Standards Users, International Organization for Standardization, World Standards Corporation. Here answer to this question is option A, Codex Alimentarius Commission. In the early 1960s, the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations and World Health Organization recognized the importance of developing international standards for the purpose of protecting public health and minimizing disruption of international food trade. The WTO's SPS agreement states that to harmonize sanitary and phytosanitary measures, members shall base their sanitary or phytosanitary measures on international standards, guidelines or recommendations. The agreement names the joint FAO WHO Codex Alimentarius as the relevant standard setting organization for food safety. So here answer to this question is option A, Codex Alimentarius Commission. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching. We will continue with the next essay tomorrow.